Hi, my name's Anna McGregor. I'm a Domestic Abuse and Sexual Violence Coordinator for Cornwall Council and I work as part of the Safer Cornwall Partnership. We wanted to just take a little bit of time today to talk to you about how to stay safe at home if you are living with your abuser. So there's some tips, guidance and advice in the video to follow. Some of it will be appropriate for your circumstances, some of it won't. I'd advise you to trust your instincts on that. You know your situation better than anybody else, and I am well aware that you've been dealing with this on your own potentially for a very long time. I myself was in an abusive relationship for over a decade, so these are tips that I've used myself and also ones that I've used when I was working on the front line as a domestic abuse support worker. Firstly, we want you to know that regardless of the current restrictions around social distancing and being able to leave your home, there is absolutely nothing stopping you from fleeing your house if you need to be safe. You have a right to be safe, as does your family, and anything you need to do to ensure your safety will be supported by services and the police. You're not going to be punished and you're not going to be forced back into an unsafe environment. So please do not suffer at home thinking that you can't leave or access support because of the social distancing and COVID-19 restrictions. So some of the first things to get in place are things that you're probably doing already. For example, making sure that your children know that if anything does happen, it's not their responsibility to protect you or fight on your behalf, and that actually we just want them out of the house in a safe place, and if they are able to teach them how to call 999 and give their address. In addition to that, it's good to be aware that if you can call 999 but you're not able to talk, the police are still able to respond to you if you can let them know that you're on the line. So you can press 55, which lets them know that you're there, but it's not safe for you to speak. Or you can cough or tap the phone or make any type of comment that may not be relevant to the phone call, but allows the police to know that you are on the line and that you need help. So that's just some really basic advice to practice, and your children can do that as well. And these are things that don't just apply to domestic abuse, so you don't have to make your children anxious about something that they may not understand. You can converse with them about this in terms of any emergency situation. As well as the information we've just given you about how to contact the police, there are other things that you could do on a day-to-day basis just to increase your general safety in the event that something might happen. So for example, remembering not to wear anything around your neck like necklaces, chains or scarves. These things can be used to restrict your movement really easily and also to choke or strangle you. So try and remember not to put things around your neck, just to be on the safe side. As well, I would really recommend that if you have got the opportunity to start talking to neighbours and members of your community that you feel you can trust, preferably ones that don't have a mutual friendship or relationship with your abuser, but people that you can confide in. You don't have to tell them everything that's happening to you, but you could let them know that there may be an occasion when you need a safe haven, and can they make that available to you, and also for them to call the police if they hear anything happening or if you call out for help. Another thing that you can do in preparation that might help you to feel a bit more secure and less anxious in the event that something might escalate at home and you need to leave quickly is to prepare a bag. I used to call mine the get up and go bag because it was just that. I could get up, take the bag and leave and not have to panic or worry about what I had to take with me, whilst also trying to manage my safety and the safety of my child at the time. So things like clothes for a couple of days, any medicines, medication that you or your family need. If there isn't enough to store some separately, then making sure the details of the medication is in there, and also contact details for the GP. Documents like passports, birth certificates, work permits, right to remain documentation, anything like that that could be really useful to you. Try and keep a copy in the bag. Bank cards if you have access to them, some cash if you can store some away, a phone if you can put a spare phone in there, if not a phone charger. Also write down any key numbers, so family members, GP, school, friends, services that you might be working with, anything that you might need, because we know that one of the first things that abusive partners tend to do is take the phone away, because that can isolate you and stop you from leaving. So if you've got this list of numbers in place, then you'll feel confident that you don't need your phone anyway. In addition to that, things like a toy or a comforter for your child to help them feel a little bit more secure and at ease in a very difficult time. The bag needs to be stored somewhere safe. So if you have access to a vehicle that only you have access to, great, put it in the boot of the car, that's brilliant. If you don't, try and keep it with maybe one of those neighbours that we spoke about earlier that you trust, so that it's accessible and close by, and explain to them what it is, or store it with a friend or family member that you know you can go to when you do decide to leave. It's something that you may never use, but it is also something that could be a lifeline to you and just make it that little bit easier for you to do the difficult thing, which is to leave an abusive situation. Like I said, I had one and it really helped me, so give it a go, and if it is safe for you to do it, it could be brilliant. If it's not safe and you think that actually by storing these things it would arouse suspicion, don't do it. Like I said, we can work with you and support you to get access to your belongings and also replace anything that we can't get access to. If you are in the house with your abuser and you feel that the situation is about to escalate into a physical and dangerous situation, and when I say you feel, I really do mean that. Trust your instincts. You've been doing this for a long time. You know this person, you know their patterns. So don't take any chances. If you get any inclination that the situation is about to become dangerous, physical or harmful, react, okay? So first and foremost, use that escape plan. Get out of the house as quickly as you can. Make sure your children get out of the house as quickly as they can. If you're able to call the police straight away. If you are able to call the police and not speak, cough, make a noise, the 5-5. If you can alert your neighbours at that time and get into a safe space, whether that be a vehicle and lock the doors, whether that be a neighbour's house or as far down the road as you can get, if there's nobody around you that you trust, do that and call the police as soon as it's safe to do so. Don't take any chances. If you are unable to get out of the house, again, try and keep your phone on you if you can, because that is going to be a means of you being able to call for support to the police. Try and get your children and yourself into a safe room. A safe room, again, is somewhere that there is an option of escape, so a window or something like that. You won't always be able to do it on the ground floor. If you can, that's the best place to be. Avoid places like the kitchen, the garage or the shed. As we know, most things can be used as a weapon, but in these particular rooms there are going to be things like knives, tools, heavy objects, sharp objects that are easier to use as a weapon. So to keep yourself as safe as possible, stay as far away from those rooms as you can if you're able to. If you need to flee into a room and close the door, barricade the door in any way you can. Something that I used to use, and when I was an IDVA, an independent domestic violence advisor, I would recommend this to my clients, is a door stopper. So a door stopper used on the inside of the door actually is very effective at stopping that person from pushing the door open. If, for example, there's no lock or you want it as an additional security. As soon as you're in the room, open the window and make as much noise as possible so that you alert the neighbours and you make your abuser aware that you are alerting people around you and that you're not going to be waiting for that person to attack you again. It will make them feel insecure and on edge, and hopefully it will deter them from continuing with what they're doing, but it'll also alert the neighbours around you, whether you've spoken to them already or not. Hopefully they will be able to call the police if you're unable to do so. What you can start doing right now, regardless of whether or not the abuse is happening now or it's happened in the past or you think it might start again, and no matter what type of abuse it is, start to record that. So document it somewhere safe that you can keep away and hidden, that's not going to be found, whether that be on your phone, whether that be in a diary. Log every incident, so anything that's happened already that you know the details of and you think, actually I want to keep track of that because I feel things might get worse, or I might choose to act on this at some point and get help. So write down what's happened, when it happened, the day, the date, the time. If you can, be as detailed as possible. Try and take pictures of any bruises, if there are any, or damage to the property. Any text messages or phone calls that are abusive, threatening, intimidating, manipulative, anything like that. Try and save the phone calls, record the phone calls, save the text messages. These are things that you can use later on. So whether you choose to report to the police or not, yes, they would be great evidence to hand over to the police if you do choose to make a report, but they'll also help you in terms of moving out, any divorce proceedings, any separations, any child contact, anything to do with safeguarding proceedings. This is all information that will be useful for you in the future should you choose to leave your abuser. So start documenting now, and you've got it there, whatever you choose to do.